How's it going, everyone? A Shrewsbury here, and as you can see in the top middle of my screen, I have some HUD text for two cooldown abilities that I just created for our new Dive Tank hero in the Overwatch Workshop editor. So if you want to learn how I made these abilities and how you can make them yourself and get the code for this at the very end of the video, then stick around. But I'll show you real quick what this can do as soon as I wake up from this sleep. So my first ability is my ability 1, which is my shift ability. If I hit shift, I will speed boost at 200% speed for, I think, 2 seconds, and then I have to wait until the cooldown is down to 0 again before I can do it again. Now look at the second ability with that stun text. If I get close to another enemy, as soon as I find them, you can see their icon will pop up. And while that's popped up, if I were to run up to them and hit right click, I will stun them as well as myself and lock onto them for 2 seconds. So let me go find them again. Just like that. So those are the two abilities. If you're interested in learning how I did it, stick around. In our scripts here, we have a few things that initialize and update values, and we have our sprint ability and our secondary fire ability. Let me go into our sprint ability first because it's pretty straightforward. The way I have this set up is if I hit a button that is our ability 1 button, then we would set our speed to 200%, and then after 6 seconds we would set it back down to 100%. And also, as this is going on, we want to implement our cooldown time. So first we check to see if our player variable is 0, and then we set it up to 6 once we activate it, so we can't continually activate it. And as we're doing this, we're using a cool script called chase player variable at rate. So this means right after we set our cooldown timer to be 6, we can start decreasing it at 1 per second until it hits 0. So that in 6 seconds, we'll activate this again, and now we'll be able to trigger this. I'll show you how that looks in just a second, but I wanted to go over the grapple mechanics because it's a bit more complicated. But here we have, if we're hitting secondary fire, and we're in line of sight of player variable T, and I'll explain what that means, but that's basically our target that we're constantly checking to see if some conditions are met for. And we have a target, so sometimes we don't even have a target and we set it to null, and our cooldown's ready, then we can do all of this stuff. Let me show you how we get our target. So in find potential target, what we're doing is checking to see if there is a player that's closest to reticle, if they're either further away than 3 meters or closer than 3 meters. So this is a skip if block, meaning if the distance between the player who we're looking at and ourselves is greater than 3, then we'll skip the next 2 blocks and go down here and set the player variable to null, meaning we don't have a character that we want to target, and then we'll continue and check again. But say we did have a character, then we would set the variable T to the player closest to the reticle, and then we would skip setting it to null. So they're kind of flip-flop things here. I'll share this code if you want to take a closer look at it later. So we'll always have a target if we're close to a player and looking at them. So if if we do have a target, we will do the following things. We will set the player to, we'll set our timer up to 6, and then we'll start chasing it down back to 0. Then we will stun the player for 2 seconds, and then we will start locking our crosshair onto that player. We will prevent ourselves from moving. Then after 2 seconds, when this person isn't stunned anymore, we will stop forcing the face and stop restricting the movement. So let me show you how that works. The only other thing I set up was display, so I'll go over that after I show you how this works. So if we hit Winston, this only works for Winston. You can see in the top middle, I have some UIs showing my ability cooldowns. If I hit shift, I'll start sprinting, and that cooldown will start going down. I want to be in ult form for this. And then watch the top right where it says stun as I get closer to one of these enemies, because something's going to happen. See, Zarya's icon pops up when she's the target, and if there's no target, we get nothing. And if we hit right click while she's our target, we stun her and also stun ourselves. And also we need to wait for our stun to come back up again, and it locks onto that player. So that's kind of like the playstyle is charge forward towards a person and stun them, and let your team kind of capitalize on that. So if you want to see how I set up the UI or the HUD text, it's a lot of using big headers, subheaders, and text to kind of get that clean format. These are my two options. The easier one is up here, where basically I have the header be the countdown, just the player variable that we've been chasing in the other script. The subheader will just be ability 1, and the text will be a description of what that ability is. Over here, when we had the player lock-on icon, we have in the text area, we split it into two. We say reference the 0th thing in this array, and then the 1th thing. And the first one will have just the string stun, and then the second one will have the hero icon string of the hero of the player variable from the event player called T. So basically that character that we are tracking. So that's all I have for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this series. Let me know how this is going if you have any questions about how you implement this character on your own. Let me know what you want to see next. I'll share this code for you guys as soon as it pops up. So this is the code if you want to check out that lock-on script. So until next time, thanks and have a good day.